I just finished Project Hail Mary a little bit earlier this week, and since I reached 1,000 followers, today I'm going to give you a full review. So, first, to start with, I'm not a huge fan of Andy Weir's previous books. So, for example, The Martian I felt was a little bit too science forward. The story kind of lacked. It was all about the technicalities of living on Mars and trying to survive until he could be rescued. I felt like Artemis was a heist in space, but there's better heist books. Um, this book, I feel like Anywhere hit its stride. So there's a lot of science in it, but it's never the overriding part of the story. It's kind of the background of the story. And he never goes overboard with it. It's never like, okay, let me do 47 equations and explain how they all relate to each other. It's very much like I did the math and this is the result. And that is a perfect way to hook people who aren't scientists. So you know something is happening, you know technical things are happening, and yet the story continues, the plot continues, and you don't get bogged down in the science part of it. So I feel like he really hit his stride as far as blending science with narrative in a way that's entertaining, and that you don't get lost in the science and kind of blunder around there. Um, so the main character, Ryland Grace, I actually really liked how he portrayed Ryland. So he starts out with amnesia on a spaceship. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what's going on. And then he uses a really clever narrative plot device of flashbacks as Ryland regains his memory to explain how he came to be on the spaceship, what led to it, the astrophage infecting the sun, and the imminent demise of humanity. So like all of these things are led to um, through this interesting plot device of he has amnesia and he has flashbacks. The best part of the story, as I'm sure anyone who's read it will agree, is Rocky. Rocky is an alien that comes from a star system that also is being affected by astrophage and came to Tau Ceti to look for some sort of cure because it's the only star in the region that isn't being dimmed by astrophage. So he and Ryland team up, and their dynamic is the best part of the story. If it had been like The Martian, where it's just a solo human trying to solve a problem, I doubt I would have been as into the story. But Rocky makes the story. His interplay with Rylan, learning each other's languages, dealing with each other's eccentricities, solving the problem of astrophage together. Rocky being a much more engineer focused character, and Grace being a much more science focused character. They play really well together to solve problems. And the genuine trust and compassion and friendship between the two, man, it just drives the whole story. It's the best part. And I'm really glad that Andy Weir went this direction with The Martian. He could have done another solo space story, and I'm so glad he didn't. Um, Again, the actual science part is interesting, like how they come up with a counter to astrophage in Talmiba, how they farm it, how they push it to the level that it needs to be to save each of their home planets. Like all of the science is really cool, but it never pushes past the plot, never pushes past the characters, never pushes past the relationship. And I'm so glad because it makes the book great. It would have just been good otherwise, but it is fantastic. It kept me engaged the entire time. I couldn't wait to see what happened at the end. All of the various disasters and emergencies that occurred helped to build that tension in the plot, and so you're always on the edge of your seat. What's going to happen next? How are they going to solve this? How are they going to fix this problem? So good. And I actually listened to this on audiobook, and Ray Porter is the one who did the audiobook. He also did the Jack Carr audiobooks. He is a revelation. Like the way he portrays characters, the emotion he gives them, the different tones for the two characters, and just the underlying sense of humor. Um, you got to listen to it on audiobook. It is so good. And big shout out to Ray Porter for just nailing what is some really complex material. So, in summary, this is a fantastic book. It's one of my favorite books I've read this year and maybe ever, because it really does have that sense of humanity, humor, grit, problem solving, I mean, you find out that Grace is basically a reluctant hero, and yet he arises to the challenge and resigns himself essentially to dying to save humanity. Um, it's a fantastic story. The ending I think is great. I know some people didn't love it, but I feel like it really works well for Grace's character. And if you haven't read it yet, by all means, get out there, download it, buy it. I'll have a link in my bio for it. So please read this book. It is so good.